Hey guys, greetings and salutations. I hope everybody's doing well. Let me pull something up to share with you guys real quickly. Hold please. There we go. And I'm going to pull up a search screen for you. Research with me. I'll do a quick rudimentary intro here, just in case anyone shows up. Just in case. All right, so this is not the topic that I wanted to cover, which is going to sound weird for me because I cover all kind of topics. I wanted to add this one in when I saw all of those. Well, first, let me be clear. I wanted to vet the person a little bit and watch the playlist of Sabrina Wallace. Don't have a problem with her. Don't know her personally. Not endorsing her. Not endorsing her. I'm trying to learn from her. What I'm able to learn, anyways. Little girl, are you okay? Uh-oh. You okay? Oh, what'd you eat? Give me that. Oh, poor little thing. Let me get rid of it. I apologize. Little girl ate something too quick and had a little hiccup there that I had to take care of. Sorry. Good thing I have like everything I need handy. All right. So this is not the topic that I wanted to cover, but after going over Sabrina's information, I realized that this will jive nicely with how do I put this? The goal on this channel is to bring you into some type of power. Now, I don't mean that in any type of strange magical way, or at least it shouldn't be strange and magical to people. It is to reawaken your own sovereignty and to then take accountability to be an advocate for your own body and your own autonomy and your own health. Now, I'm not a doctor, no part of this is medical advice. This is why we research these things together because we're trying to do our due diligence and take accountability and be our own advocates for our own lifestyles and our own lifestyle choices and our own health. Now, how does this pull into religious studies and faith systems? Well, it goes hand in hand because if you can get your mind right, you can get your body right. You can get your spirit right, you can get your temple right. It doesn't usually work in the reverse. Usually you can't work your way inward. I had to because my heart was hardened. So I had to start on surface level stuff with my own self, but I don't think that's the norm. But we all learn in different ways. So the idea is to number one, we know that the world was created with the sound. God created the world and everything in it with frequency, with the sound of His voice, with certain tones. Now, recently, we talk a lot about like memories that come back to the surface, and especially with this Gate project and the Gateway tapes. Um, I've talked a little bit about memories that seem to be bubbling to the surface of my own, and I've seen other people talking about that as well. And that also plays a part in all of this, right? And so, your health or your lifestyle choices, the choices that you make for your temple are directly affected by your faith oftentimes. I mean, we know this as people. We wake up, we feel blue, we feel down, we're a little tired that day, and we're just kind of pessimistic, right? Well, when you have that attitude, you can see that it affects your whole day. And it also affects how you physically feel operating in the world at that time, if that makes sense. Now, some people are going to call this new age. Some people won't watch it. They will say, "What are you doing? You're introducing, these concepts." We have to not be afraid, okay? This is our body. This is our temple. And the other reason why this ties in is that if you don't have sovereignty over your own temple, then that makes it really easy for you to be a sock puppet. And it turns into that chess match where we see the devil playing Jesus in that meme. I know you've seen it. Maybe I'll use it as the screensaver if I can ever remember to look for it. Um, you can be used as a sock puppet if you're not claiming your own sovereignty, if you're not clearing out your temple, if you're not detoxing, if you're not claiming your sovereignty and wielding the sword of the Spirit, which is your tongue, which is the word off of your tongue, the word of the Spirit, right? The sword of the Spirit is the word that comes off of your tongue, and it's how you wield your free will and your sovereignty. That has everything to do with this, because if what some of these people are saying is true, and I have reason to believe that it is, I'm going to do a little quick flashback story time, and I might add it into the title, I might not. It'll take about 2 minutes, but it's worth hearing. When I started being uninvited to family events, and I talked about this picture before, there's a Polaroid that was brought home from a Christmas party of my son's. And it was a Christmas party, but for whatever reason, the one was wearing his purple top hat from YouTube. It was like a pillow hat, and the other one was wearing a German war cap. I don't even know what to call them. I don't know what they're called. And the youngest was looking in his hands almost like someone had given him car keys. And all I can think when I looked at it, because some of their behavior, because they would laugh at me, I started having problems with my body. Like my hands would do things like when I was cooking, one time I threw a spatula and I didn't try to do that. And I'm like, am I being possessed? And my son, my youngest, who usually has a pretty compassionate heart, laughed at me. And then I remember on that same time I had woken up with bruises on me, and my oldest son was just there in the room, and I'm like, man, it's like I get beat up every night by a Mack truck or something. And he like giggled and had to walk out of the room. So when they brought this picture home, and again, my intuition, for whatever reason, since my NDE, since they traumatized me, whatever's going on here. When I looked at that picture, I'm like, he's, what is he being given the remote control for me? Am I a Stepford wife? Because again, of all of this strange behavior leading up to these moments. And I just thought of another moment that I wanted to tell you guys about, because it has to do with these things. And if you recognize, that you're losing a little bit of time, or that your body's doing things that it shouldn't be doing, and it's very possible that you've already entered that Daniel verse, and the Antichrist is sitting in the temple, your temple, in the seat of God, which is the seat of the soul, which would be your pineal gland, calling himself God. And how many preachers and how many people have we seen fall away just in the last few years? I could probably go on YouTube right now and find nothing but a video full of clips of pastors, ministers, people who know better, calling themselves God. So that's my concept. That's why we're looking at this. And again, it's about sovereignty. It has nothing to do with false idols or anything like that. And if you're willing, here we go. So the AI overview gives us, on a basic search for Biofield, it tells us, because the search was studies and research into the human biofield. Now I do have an article pulled up, not an article, I have a paper, sorry, pulled up. And I also have a link pulled up with Deepak Chopra. Now I know that he is, and this is where we're not going to go with this. We're not going to go into like some Buddhist type of way. I know some people say all they worship is demons, and I'm not going to get into that. Like, I don't point at things I don't know about and say that they're demonic. All I'm going to say is the only one I want in my temple is the Holy Spirit of God, and the spirit of mine that God put in here, right? Um, but again, we're not to be afraid of information. We can just as easily close a book, set it down, set it on fire, quit reading it, whatever, throw it away, pass it off to a friend, whatever, donate it, right? It's a book with words. And words should not hurt you unless you allow them to. And I am doing my best to learn that lesson. Now, obviously, I don't mean insults from loved ones. I'm talking about educational forums here, research. This is science. This is real science. Actual science is something that you can test yourself and is repeatable. When they start giving you all this math stuff that you don't understand, and I understand that like their whole world revolves around math, but that's not God's. God doesn't operate just through math. Like God operates through shapes and sound and symmetry, and most importantly, order. There's a proper order to things. And again, all of this coalesces into your personal sovereignty. All right. So Now, we're not going to look at Reiki or anything like that, but I do believe that what Christ did had something to do with that. I know everybody demonizes that practice as well. My thing is about everybody being healthy as we can. I mean, I still smoke. I can't, like, again, you know, we all have our vices in this place. All right, now with a little sip of oat milk, here we go. Investigating its own health, healing, and various physiological processes, research focuses on understanding how biofield therapies like Reiki, Qigong, Wigong, Qigong, and healing touch may impact psychological symptoms, immune function, and even cancer cell growth. These studies often involve measuring physiological responses and observing behavioral changes in participants. Now, another good reason to look at things like this and to educate yourself as much as possible about your own anatomy and your own vessel. Stop trusting other people to do that for you. When you go to a doctor, it's kind of your job, right? You need to know your health. You need to tell the doctor what's going on. If your health changes, you need to tell the doctor, hey, I used to be this way, this changed. Should we look at it? Like, you need to be your own advocate, all right? And it's willful ignorance if we walk around not knowing how to treat our own vessels. Some of it. Now, again, a lot of us have been totally miseducated, and this is why they miseducate you. They don't want you learning about what you can do for yourself to make certain changes. You can't put these decisions in the hands of other people, strangers who aren't in your skin, expecting them to make the best choices for you. So, the biofield defined is a concept in alternative medicine that refers to the subtle energy field surrounding the body, believed to be influenced by various factors like emotions, thoughts, and physical states. Now, on one side of this, you do have the woo woo aspect, that this is esoteric, that it's chakra driven, that it's a faith system. I don't think that's true, though. Yes, it's affected by your faith, but I don't think it itself is the faith system, if that makes sense. Now, you can find a lot of common information across every faith and culture. And that's the stuff I think we should be looking at, is what do we have in common? We should maintain our culture to the point of which, we have our own autonomy and our own sovereignty. But concepts that are blatantly false, we need to let go of. These concepts are not inherently evil, okay? It's what you do with this information that can be evil. And the fact that they're hiding this from us, that they're doing actual studies in the Institute of Health, the National Institute of Health, by something that they've told us is some type of hippie class of if delusion, basically, right? It's like, oh, you're deluded, that's not real. How dare them constantly call people crazy? You can induce someone to behaving in ways that make them look like they're mentally ill as well. And I'm almost convinced at this point that that's where a lot of those things come from. That and the food that we are putting into our temples with dyes and things. And again, I'm not a doctor. Part of this is advice. We're searching for ourselves so we can become better advocates for our own health, because you see, AI has taken over every field. It's all but ruined art for me. Just the idea of sitting down and drawing, it's like, well, why draw if nobody can see it? Why draw if there's no one there to enjoy it? Why paint if people can get stuff from AI like in 2.5 seconds? Right? And this is the idea. This is what they want us to feel. They want us to feel despondent. They want us to feel like we want to give up. I hope that this channel can be a space where we can be solution centered and not problem focused. Because by constantly focusing on the problem, you're missing all of the good aspects of life. Not everything is evil here, not everything is bad. And that's coming from someone who doesn't trust anybody anymore. And I know that there are still good aspects of life. Research focus. It explores how biofield therapies, which manipulate this energy field, can affect different aspects of life, of health. Psychological effects. Some studies have examined the impact of biofield therapies on psychological symptoms like anxiety, depression, and stress. Um, showing improvements in perceived symptoms and physiological biomarkers. That's interesting to me. And look, everybody wonders about the mark, right? Well, DNA uses that word a lot. Mark, markers, mark. Now, the studies on DNA are weird because you look at some and they tell you how like your DNA is inherent and it can't be changed unless it's changed with like gene editing in when you're in the fetus, right? And then you look at other studies about trauma, like anyone with PTSD that's studied even for 5 seconds knows that we are told that trauma can affect DNA for generations, that you have this generational memory happening. But not just that, it can affect that person's DNA. So if our DNA is not fluid and it's unchanging, how can trauma change it? And these are the inconsistencies when the science field gives them to us that we need to look at because the one world religion that I believe is the religion right now is scientism. Follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. But what they're giving us is not real science, and everything they've called false science has been legit. Now, the problem arises with Agenda 2030. This is one video that I can't find, and I can't find the research that went along with the video. I still have some of my old videos, which I still might post. I have not decided yet. Um, and again, if you follow the original channel, you know that all of these things are things that we have looked at. Everything we talk about now, we are getting deeper and deeper into these topics, all of them. The religious, the faith, the cultural, every topic that you've seen on the channel, you'll probably see repetitively. And that should be. You should look for changes in information, for new research, for new studies, and things that are actually proven and provable through real science, which is repetition. Okay. But the Agenda 2030 had laid out and it said, we are going to do everything the opposite of what it says. Definitions will now be the opposing. And it said, by the time they figure it out, it will be too late. This was actually in the agenda. I read it on the channel. And again, you don't have to believe me, but why? How could I just fabricate all of these lies, like just out of nowhere? And why would I? I'm not making any money off of any of this. So, anyways, now you see one of the first resources that pops up is the National Institute of Health. Um, and this is from 2015. Now, this is by Rubik, and I actually have this pulled up, I believe. I believe that's what I already have for you. So let's just, again, do a brief cursory search here, and then I'll pull up that paper. Excuse me, it's raining, so it's a rain day for us. That's why I didn't want to talk about this topic, but it involves all of the other things we discuss. What I really want to get into is the geography of the lands and in a way that other people I don't think are doing it. But also this fallen angel thing. Like, I need to know. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's people doing this or fallen angels or interdimensional men in black. It doesn't matter who's doing it. We need to be equipped to quote unquote fight back. I'm a pacifist. I know that some of the people who watch my channel are. I don't physically fight back. That might sound foolish to some people. Now, if my life is in danger, like I can't say what I'm going to do in any given situation. I can't say, right? But mostly, I don't physically do that type of thing. Um, and I don't have money to fight technology against technology. So we're looking at intrinsical operations and functions that are already built into us to fight back. Think of it like this. Think of it like Star Wars and the Death Star, right? And how they couldn't see it when the cloaking thing was up and you have these force fields, right? We need to figure out how to activate our force field, our good blue light, I call it like the light body to me is blue, but it's like a good blue. It's not like the LED stuff you see everywhere. Anyway, I've had dreams about it. I've talked about it a little bit. Um, anyways, so having, hold on, let me pull that up too. All right. There we go. Now, the next thing that comes up, how do you do that? How would you, how do you learn about a body that you've been told works one way and it might not actually be the case? Because everything starts in the spirit, right? So this is why I fight back with whatever I already have, whatever internal tools that have already been given to me by my creator. The good thing about that is nobody else has that. Whatever it is that you were given when you were created, no one has that but you. So I can't tell you where it's at or how to find it, but I can tell you how to maybe strengthen it. And it takes prayer, it takes meditative thought. And to meditate, you don't need to be sitting doing these crazy hand signals, crazy body gestures. You don't even need to have your eyes closed. Meditation is like when you let a topic marinate, just one topic or one question in your mind, you let it bubble to the surface, and you mentally ask the creator, the one who made you, the one who made the universe, what is the truth of this? What do I need to see in this? And you allow it to kind of marinate in your mind and in your heart, maybe as you rake leaves, maybe as you go for your morning run, maybe as you garden. You don't have to take the time to sit down and do absolutely nothing unless that's what works for you. It's not my job to tell you what works for you. I'm just here to try and research alternative methods of what they're offering us. Because again, the medical field is going the AI route. My biggest problem is how can a piece of machinery that doesn't have flesh and blood tell me how to treat my flesh and blood? Well, it can't, right? So that's why we're doing this. So anyone that wants to say it's anti-Christian or any of these things, I just don't have time for that argument. I'm not worshiping false idols. I'm not praying to Buddha or any weird thing like that. All right, medical news today. Now, just biofield tuning. Now, that's what they call the healing of this area. You tune it with sound frequency and how that resonates and vibrates off of your spirit. Now, a lot of people will call biofield spirit. Basically, for anyone that doesn't understand, let's nuts and bolts it. Let's bottom line it for you. Let me give you an analogy for those who understand analogies. Um, the nuts and bolts of it is you have like your spirit, right? And your spirit is what animates your body. It's what makes it move, right? When you think about something and then you think, gee, I'm hungry, I'm going to get up and walk to the fridge now. It doesn't take you that long to think that, but that's how quick your mind is processing it because your mind is a computer. And computers were built, we copied, and again, this is what people do, right? We copied our creator in making this AI thing, or we think we made it. Um, and then you see like these Russian dolls, one inside of another, inside of another, inside of another. Kind of like that Black Mirror episode where which dimension was the real dimension because they were all stacked on top of each other. Anyways, your spirit does not stop where you see your body stop. And there are cameras that back in the 70s they used to take these pictures, and I know because my mother had these books. And again, some people will call it a cult, okay? We have to stop allowing that to hurt us into this label or that label, into this stall or that stall, and to stop being divided by words. We need to educate ourselves. All right. This is our body. This is our temple. How are we going to keep the Antichrist from sitting in our temple in the seat of God if we don't know where that's at or anything about it? Okay. So your spirit basically is what animates your body. It's what makes it go. All right. Your spirit doesn't stop when you hold your hand out in front of you. That's not where your spirit stops. And I can almost prove it to you. If you take your hand and you hold it up and you put it in front of a light, you can almost see the little blurs around your hand because your fingers almost touch. Even though you're holding your hand wide and you're spreading all of your fingers, if you hold them in front of a light, it looks like they're almost touching. And you know they're not almost touching. Why is that? Because what you're seeing is your spirit. It doesn't stop with your physical temple. This is why when somebody comes into your area, if they have like really high energy or really low energy, whatever, just really strong and different than yours, you feel it before you see them because their spirit is moving along before they are, if that makes any sense. Okay, now let's get on to this. Okay, now this is saying medical news today, the definition. The committee defined biofield as a massless field, not necessarily electromagnetic, that surrounds and permeates living bodies and affects the body. Okay. Now they've started hooking up cars. I told you that. When you get onto the highway now, for whatever reason, your car can talk to the one in front of you, even if you're strangers. I don't like that. I'm so glad I don't drive now. Like, I hate being stuck in one spot, but I really don't want to be on the road with all this craziness happening. I also think that's the reason for the tinted windows. I think they're testing a lot of driverless cars now because it makes it look like the population is higher than it actually is. And again, there's a reason for that because if God does not intervene, there would be almost no flesh left. Now, are we at that time? I think we are, but I could be wrong. This is why I'm open to correction. But that does not mean I'm open to manipulation and just because you tell me I've been a bad girl that I'm going to go get back in my lane. That's just not that's not mature response. That's not a mature responsible attitude. And I'm concerned that the people who now have the keys to the castle, the ones that can now do whatever they want, because I guess they pass them around. I know these people. They're not nice people. I don't want them in charge. And they're not getting the keys to my castle. I pray. Like, God doesn't let that happen. I don't consent to it. So you got to make your own choice. But I know I don't want nothing sitting in my seat of God. Now, is that verse actually literal too? I believe it's literal, and again, every verse has a deeper meaning. The deeper meaning is about you personally. What are you going to let take up residence in your mind in the seat of God, right? That controls your body. Think of Plankton when he was in that episode of SpongeBob and he was controlling the fake SpongeBob, the SpongeBot or whatever it was. I have children. I've seen a lot of a lot of episodes like that, or a lot of shows like that. Okay, so let's familiarize ourselves. What is the human bioenergetic field? The human energy field is often referred to as the subtle body or the invisible part of the body. It consists of various subtle fields according to electromagnetic frequency and resonance patterns, which interpenetrate, I think that's what it is, one another and the physical body in all dimensions. So that's saying it's kind of a big deal. All right. Now, if you understand the content and you appreciate it, you understand how it kind of goes along with everything else, I would appreciate the thumbs up just so I know if I'm speaking a language you can understand. We're going to click on this. I like diagrams. I like visuals. I think they help us learn a lot. Um, we're going to scroll up a little bit. This is the National Institute of Health. So what you're seeing is a lot of abstracts, a lot of papers. Let's see who wrote this one. This is Beverly Rubik. Now, she's really big in the field. I cannot look at anything without her name coming up, okay? Um, Here's the abstract. And again, sometimes it's where we can get good information. I don't ever read the whole book or the whole paper because that can be cited as plagiarism. That's also why I always add commentary, even if it's just a reading video. At the same time, you need to be a responsible researcher and you need to be responsible. Again, you need to be an advocate for your own body, your own health, your own spirit. So a lot of this you can look up on your own. I'm not going to delve fully into one area unless we're learning a lot there, right? And just remind me if I don't put up the references because now I'm using the laptop and a phone and it can get a little hairy for me. So if I don't do source links, please just remind me if you want to, look at a paper we looked at. Biofield science is an emerging field of study. It's not emerging, it's been around forever. By furthering our scientific knowledge of the biofield, we arrive at a better understanding of the foundations of biology as well as the phenomena that have been described as energy medicine. Energy medicine, the application of extremely low level signals to the body. Hold, while we're reading this, please understand. Although I said there are good aspects to life, and I totally believe that, take all of this with a grain of salt. Be your own devil's advocate and flip everything that we read. If it can be used to make one better, what else can it be used if you flip that? There are nefarious applications to everything. You can turn almost anything wicked if you want to, aside from God himself and things he makes holy. But concepts and things without sentience, right? You can turn almost any good idea into something nefarious in the wrong hands. And that's all I'm going to say there. Energy medicine, the application of extremely low level signals to the body. And now a lot of this is sound, frequency, and it's also light. All of these things working in tandem at the same time. There's a reason you see all the Christian YouTubers, they were all pummeling Terrence Howard. All right. And to make up for that stuff, he went up on TV in a woman's wig. So I don't know what his deal is, but he was giving us some truth. Okay. All right. Including energy healer interventions and bioelectromagnetic device-based therapies is incomprehensible from the dominant biomedical paradigm of life is chemistry. Interesting. Alchemy. The biofield or biological field, a complex organizing energy field engaged in the generation, maintenance, and regulation of biological home dynamics, is a useful concept that provides the rudiments of a scientific foundation for energy medicine and thereby advances the research and practice of it. All right. So again, I have a paper of hers already pulled up. Let's just do a quick little browse thing here before we bring that up. I do want to get into a little of the woo-woo. I want to see what people in the new age are very familiar with this. They look at this all the time. This is stuff that they operate with. Um, Not all people in the new age, right? Like again, I've told you there are reasons to stay away from the bigger creator channels. And the I don't know. In what is this? Crimson Publishers, Interpersonal Relationships and Human Biofield. Studies exploring the chemistry of romantic love. Yeah, we're not going to look at that, but I understand how that would work. When you say someone gives me a bad vibe, they have bad energy, I don't like that person feels off to me. All of these things. This is your biofield, your aura, your spirit letting you know that something's going on. Okay. Marianne Liebert, Biofield Therapy's Clinical Research Landscape. The Human Biofield and a Pilot Study on Qigong. Now that's holistic healing. Biofield Therapies from Sage Journals. This is 2024. A set of guidelines has been developed to help improve reporting of clinical trials of biofield therapies. So they're bringing this out, but again, they're not going to tell you what relation this has to things like 5G. Okay? And that's one of the main reasons we're looking at this is how are people made to feel a certain type of way just by frequencies, vibration, sound? Well, because our bodies, our physical bodies are made up of water and we are electric, we are conductors. That's one thing. The other thing is our spirit is affected by frequencies, by sound, because that's how we were brought into existence. And you could probably tear a physical body apart if you played the wrong frequency for a time. My biggest concern is this ending up like some really bad horror sci-fi that if somebody gets their hands on the controls of the 5G, the cell towers, whatever, that this won't interact with this. This is speculative. Let me be clear. I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not a legal expert. We are researching, we are being responsible citizens, doing our due diligence. It is our job to do this as good citizens. So if your government comes telling you, like, why are you looking at this? Why are you talking about this? Why are you giving information about this? We're doing our due diligence. Don't you want good citizens? This is what we're supposed to do. You tell us to not go to you for everything. You're not going to fix everything for us. You don't ask us if we want certain things around. And this also goes back to the cave paintings. I did a video on towers. Our electrical towers look a lot like those big monsters everyone thinks that are on those cave drawings. But what if they weren't actual monsters? What if they were iron giants? And they were warning us that these things were bad for us, that these invisible rays going through the air, the prince of the power of the air, is using against us to cause harm. Okay? Now that's why I tell you also that regular Wiccans, they aren't your enemy either, because their one tenet is cause no harm. I know this as someone who studied it. We have a common enemy, but they're pretending to be us. That's the problem. That's why the church always persecutes the church. That's why you see gangs killing gangs. Your own enemy is always of your own house, your own tribe, your own gender, unfortunately, because those are the ones you're in quote unquote competition with. And that's not supposed to be life. Life is not supposed to be a competition. This plane is big enough for all of us. We've got things here that aren't even supposed to be here. Trust me, it's big enough for us. All right, let's look at a little more just to get a better idea. Effect of the biofield therapy in the human brain. 2012. Hold up. That's old. So we're going to check it out. And I keep seeing her name too. That Rubik person and this person I keep seeing on these papers. So we're going to take a quick peek. Hopefully it goes well. I'm going to go ahead. Nobody's talking, which is sad and disappointing, but I don't want to subscribe. Thank you, though. I'm going to pull up my phone and just make sure that we are live, because once I start reading and stuff here, I won't be able to see it. Yeah, okay, just go away. Now, this is interesting. Mary Ann Liebert, Incorporate and Publishers. Okay, so is Rubik's name on here? No, but it looks like we have some Asians or Indians, which I say that because, again, Eastern people, Eastern culture does not demonize this the way that the West does. There's a reason for all of that. There's a reason it's demonized, right? I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm going to pull this up just to make sure that it's working. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for being here live. If you have any information that you'd like to look at, I do not block links. Always feel free to share them, because I think that would help. And I did a short video about this, that we were going to be looking at this. Okay, I just wanted to pull it up and make sure it's working. Objectives. The effects of Okada Purifying Therapy, OPT, a form of subtle energy therapy that originated in Japan, were investigated. Electroencephalograms and the profile of mood states scores were measured using a crossover design during OPT and placebo sessions. Interesting. So again, it makes me wonder about a lot of things as far as the placebo goes. The power of our mind is so strong that it affects all of these things. CCC, that's 333. Yikes. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so there was 19 healthy Japanese adults and 10 females. No previous experience of biofield therapy participated in the study. Each session lasted 15 minutes, a single blind randomized design with a protocol consisting of regular cycles with eyes open, followed by eyes closed, was used. The power spectral value was calculated. Okay, now here we get into the hertz. And we looked at this the other day when we were looking at dolphins and all that, and looking at if animals could speak, if they could actually be understood by us. And I said, maybe it's because we're on different frequencies. And when you say that person's on a different wavelength than me, I don't understand that. Same thing. That's where we get all of this. This is ancient. Now, I know the ancient religions, oh, they're bad, they're wicked, Babylon, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying they didn't get corrupted. Everything seems to get corrupted by us at some point, because we're not there yet. We're not at the peak of perfection that God has intended for us. We are learning, and this is what we should be spending time doing these things while we're here. But they have us chasing some imaginary piece of paper that isn't even a real thing, trading goods for it that we don't need, and goods, they're making us pay for our own demise. And that is the most infuriating part of this, is that we pay for the cell phones, we pay for the cell service, we pay for the electric. Number one, it was already here. It should all be free, all of it. I don't want to hear like, well, humans got to work. Yes, we do got to work to get our food, to create, be artists, make music, whatever it is we want to do with our life. Not at things that literal, like, if you want to use robots for good, that's what they could be doing, is the jobs that we don't really need to be doing. But not to ruin our art. And again, this is an anti-human agenda. And this is why it doesn't matter what side you're on, really, at this point. If you are a living, breathing being on planet Earth, we all have a common enemy. And the only way we're going to learn how to fight is through our own temples. And again, some of us have no option. I don't have it like that where I can buy all these tech toys to fight this stuff. So what do? I play my flute, right? When I am down in the dumps or whatever, when I want to feel better, when I know that I need to hear some frequencies to kind of lift my thought process, I play the flute. What else do I do? What's the other thing I started doing? Oh, ringing a bell. When I feel like, and this is gonna sound like a weird one, when I feel like I want to cleanse my gut, it's gonna sound really weird. I will ring a bell. Now they say the soul is in the pineal gland, but it's connected to your gut, right? It's all connected, right? So gut health is integral with how your mind operates. So I'll ring a bell if I feel like I'm a little physically off that morning or day, or to clear space when I want to sit down and pray, because it gets rid of allegedly, it gets rid of parasitic things that could be in there. Okay. We all have them at this point. Again, I'm not telling you anything new. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. We're researching. Biofield therapies are considered to be complementary and alternative medicine. So they're saying they should be used in tandem. These types of therapies consist of practices based on subtle energy fields, also called biofields, and generally reflect the concept that human beings are infused with subtle forms of energy. That's it, though. I don't think they're subtle, and I don't think they have to be subtle. You know how when you're practicing any sport, whatever it is, when you're practicing for an event, whether it's a marathon or a swim meet or a track meet, or your muscles lifting, you know how you form what they call muscle memory, and that's how you build discipline, physical discipline in your body. Well, you need to do the same thing with your mind. You need to take the time to challenge your mind every day. You need to take the time to do assessments with your own mind on your body every day. How am I feeling? Am I in the right frame of mind? Is my heart where it needs to be right now? Especially if you're going to get angry in these times. I have a theory about something, and I don't want to get too deep into that, but I think they have set this up also. And again, there's a lot of spokes to this wheel, it's all in the same wheelhouse. I think that there's something brewing for all of these people that are overly reactive. A lot of it's in the younger generations, but I had to deal with it too. I'm dealing with it. I wasn't like this before my head injury, but now I get like reactively angry. And again, not to hurt anybody, I just get mad, right? When I know, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be mad about this. So I have to be my own policeman in my head, like, to not let my mind keep running away with itself, right? Like, hey, slow down, take a minute, reassess, reevaluate. How are you feeling? What's going on? And what did you just put in your body that might be affecting you this way? Okay. That's how I knew there's certain things were being done to food, is because of how my system is very sensitive to certain things, and I have a history of dabbling with substances. I've never been so addicted to something that I could not come back from it. Thank God, praise God. I've always been able to put things down, and that's a blessing, except for cigarettes so far. Um, but when something goes a little off kilter, but you're only going to know this. You have to discipline your mind in the same way that you discipline your body. And when I say disciplining your mind, that's disciplining your spirit, okay? A lot of people say mind, heart, spirit, all these things, they should be aligned. Your heart should be aligned with your spirit and your mind. They should be in the same, one should lead to the other, movement in one should lead to the movement of the other, and it should be a symbiotic, aligned process. Okay. All right. So this is saying it analyzed EEGs and things like that. Now we're going to get out of here just because, again, we are researching. We're just looking at a few things. I'm going to pull up this paper. Actually, I'm going to pull up the link by Deepak His name gets me. I'm sorry. Let me share this tab with y'all and make sure I can see it on the screen and that it is changing. Hold, please, while I wait for you guys to catch up. There we go. All right. Moving right along. Now we're not going to watch the video. I will share it though. Mapping the human biofield. Okay. So this is Deepak Chopra. Now he had a fall a couple of years ago. I'm not going to get into this guy's personal life or anything like that. I do know he seems to be wise. He is intelligent. He's well spoken, and he's done a lot of research. Right now, he's not a Christian. He's not a Christ follower. I get that. All right, we're reading. We're weighing information. We're trying to discern what is truth and what is not. Are they going to actually? Can you read it? Can you only listen to it? All right, hang on. Let me see if there's a transcript. Audio, video. I just wanted to. Oh, you stinkers. All right, well, hold on. Hold, please. All right. Conference. Now, I found a few other things. Foundation for Alternative. Hold, please, because I'm bringing something up and I don't want. Oh, what is this? All right. Let me see if I can. Evaluating biofield therapy effects using unique color circle design implementable in biophotonics labs. So that's when you use color and light to heal. That's the concept. That's the idea. Okay. Now again, into a lot of technical jargon, which is why I was trying to find something user friendly. And this is not a. There you also have this research. I'm going to point to it. You see, pharmaceuticals and the human energy system. It is our job to look into this stuff. And then biofield tuning research. It's based on a vibrational medicine view of health. It enables biofield tuning practitioners to identify and work with both mind and memory. This is done with tuning forks, okay? Another question I have regarding this is the memory thing. Are you able to manipulate the memories of other people if you have certain information about them? So, if you're a targeted individual, you know what brain mapping is, all right? Now, I'm going to share this tab with you guys. It is a paper. So it's going to look a little different on the screen for you. And I want to just make sure that it catches up in the video. And yep, okay, you guys are seeing it. Now, this is the name that we kept seeing come up. I chose this one because it's from 2002. And this is Marianne Liebert Incorporated. That's the research place that compiles all the information, like the data house. And this is Beverly Rubik. She has a PhD. Now, again, I've told you also, always investigate the artist, the publishing house, author, writer. You always want to look into those characters too. Just like we're finding with the angels. I got a video to do on Raphael and Raphael the angel and Raphael the painter. Which was which? Were they both one and the same? We're going to look at that too in the next video, probably. The biofield hypothesis, its biophysical basis and role in medicine. Now, again, we're reading. I am not a doctor. All right. Abstract. This paper provides a scientific foundation, which is good. We want to look at that first before we get to any woo-woo concepts. Now, what I'm going to do, if I can have your patience just for one more moment, you guys are awesome about that. I'm going to pull up some images and graphs that I want us to look at next because it shows you, well, you know what? Let's look at this. We're going to read this. We're going to read this abstract, right? And then we're going to look at a few graphs because I want you to have a good foundation of what this is about. If you can visualize something in your head, chances are you can understand it, comprehend it, or do it and achieve it. But you have to be able to visualize it in your mind first. If you can't think about it, then, and that's why oftentimes if you get an idea, that's how you know it's coming up and bubbling up to the surface of like the communal, like the collective memory of people. That's why you'll see videos that come out at the same time about the same topic from people who don't know each other on opposite sides of the world, because that's how this stuff works. It like floats around in the ether. The ether has memory, water has memory, everything has memory, DNA has memory, we have memory, right? Not always the best, but we have them. Okay, so the complex, extremely weak electromagnetic field, extremely weak. Now, I don't know if I agree with that, of the organism. And you see how they use these words? Extremely weak. That's anyone who's attended college or used Word to write a paper, it'll get rid of words like that. It'll tell you there's the word extremely is unnecessary there, and you only need the word weak. Or they'll give you one word instead of those two words. Be aware of things like that. When you see things like that, you know that somebody is trying to sway your perception. Don't let anyone else write the story for you. Don't let them tell you the story. I mean, other people write the story, but you know what I'm saying. Make up your own mind about things. And that's a part of repentance too. Changing your mind. Don't let anybody change your mind. Change it yourself. Let God change it, the spirit. But don't let gaslighting. And what gaslighting is, it's putting a guilt trip on you, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be looking at that. That's wicked. Get out of there, Jenny. You bad girl. What are you doing looking at that stuff?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll never look at it again, ever." And sometimes they use reverse psychology. "Don't ever look at that. That's bad. That's bad, bad, bad. Don't you ever look at that." I think my mom and dad that did that to me. My dad was like, don't watch. I know you like Madonna, but don't watch her Truth or Dare tour. It's inappropriate for someone like you, blah, blah, blah." Then my mom and my stepdad were watching it, and "Oh, come here, Jenny, come watch." I was like, "No, I promised Dad I wouldn't." "Oh, come on, it's no big deal, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "No, I'm going upstairs. I promised I wouldn't watch it." I didn't watch it until I was like, and I don't even think I watched the whole thing. I think I saw clips and whatnot till I was like in my 20s. But again, this is how strong somebody else's mind could be against yours. If we strengthen these things and discipline these things, okay, so it's a useful construct. The biofield is a useful construct. I can just hear her saying that. Social construct, social construct. Consistent with bioelectromagnetics and the physics of nonlinear dynamical non-equilibrium living systems. It offers a unifying hypothesis to explain the interaction of objects or fields with the organism and is especially useful toward understanding the scientific basis of energy medicine, including acupuncture, biofield therapies, bioelectromagnetic therapies, and homeopathy, homeopathy, homeopathy. Oy. The rapid signal propagation of electromagnetic fields comprising the biofield as well as its holistic properties may account for the rapid holistic effects of certain alternative complementary medical interventions. Wow, that's like a mouthful. Abstracts are always a little more. All right, so let's bottom line this for us. We're going to toggle a little bit. So I want to show you a couple images just to give you a physical idea of what we're talking here, okay? Yeah, I'm going to share this tab. Now, my mouse pointer is white, but if I like this picture right here, this is saying if you and this person are this far apart, that this is affecting this. I believe this is why they wanted us to be 6 feet apart. It's one of the reasons. I believe they were doing work with this and they didn't want us setting each other off while they were calibrating the systems. That's what I wanted to do, a short video on calibration. There's going to be a short upload about story time, and it's going to be called calibration, and it's going to go with this video. Now, if you don't know what calibration is basically, it is when you start a new system or you restart one that has been fixed and you are calibrating things to make sure they're operating symbiotically together. You calibrate two systems or two parts of a system to make sure that they're working cohesively together. That's basically what calibration is. You're testing it, right? So calibrations could be when they did lockdowns and they were doing all this work on all these towers and all the stuff that they were doing, right? And they were probably playing with how high they had it and how low they had it in different areas. Well, they need you to be 6 feet apart so they can read your specific signature and it's not muddled with anybody else's. That's part of mapping you. It's a part of tracking you. It's a part of tracing you. Because just like a fingerprint, just like DNA, Your biofield is yours. That is your frequency that the creator maker put you on, because we all share a frequency. We share a shared reality, right? On the planet Earth. This is my I don't want to call it a fear, but when I said earlier about how things can be torn apart by frequency too, I'm concerned that we're tearing apart our own world here by coming out of agreement on certain basic things. And I don't mean at just a societal level, I mean physically. We're tearing things apart because we can't come to basic agreement on what is black and what is white. And I don't mean, don't turn that into an ethnic thing. I'm talking about concepts here, right? We can't agree on what is normal, not normal. We can't agree on just a couple basic societal laws anymore. Don't steal from your neighbor, right? And don't hurt your neighbor. We should only need 2, 3 laws at most. Everything else should fall under those laws. Anyways, continuing on. Okay, so this field on this person will interfere with this person's. So I believe they were calibrating everything and they couldn't have our energy mixed up with each other's, because then it throws everything off. If we're 6 feet apart, because back when I was small, we were told 3 feet. You should give everybody personal space, and everybody's personal space was like this, how far apart you could put your arms, or 3 feet, basically. Okay, so if you're in line, you stay back a little bit so you're not looking at their debit card information, so you're not breathing down their neck, so you're just not that close to a stranger, right? It's just disrespectful. I believe when they told us to be 6 feet apart at lockdowns, it was because they were calibrating systems and they did not want my energy mixing with your energy, or they could not read it properly. That's my theory for that. All right, moving on. Chakras have a lot to do with this. And I know you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, that's heathenistic, that's pagan, that's this, that's the other." I'm not going to get into that debate with you. That's the problem. Is our teachers, the ones who have misled us, both purposely, intentionally, and some unknowing, they have mixed culture with religion and faith. Culture is different than faith. Okay? It's a different thing, or it's supposed to be a different thing. Some of these things are basic tenets that people used to know and practice, and this is why they lived longer. This is why they were healthier. And this is, again, why they maintained sovereignty. All right? So let's just check out a couple of these images just to see what we're dealing with here. Okay? Can we pull up this one? Okay, can you guys see that? Or should I do a, there we go. Hold for a second, and I'm gonna bring up this image so we can check it out. Oh, I don't want the book. You stinkers, that's not what, no. No, I just wanted to see the picture. Yeah, can't I just pull up the picture? Are you not gonna let me? Wow. Computers, and we like rely so much on them. I can't stand them most days anymore. Try this one. It was saying view. Dude, I just want to see the picture. I don't want to visit the website. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Hold. This is my fault. Do this. I just want to see the image. Open image. There we go. Sorry. Good gravy. All right. This is just an example. All right. See? At the top where your head is, that's the crown chakra. The idea is if that thing is open, anything can swoop right in there and use you as a sock puppet. This falls into Christianity. This falls into some pseudoscience areas, some sciences of consciousness that they're actually studying right now. There's allegedly, some people say 9, some people say 12. Both of those numbers are key. 9 is allegedly the number of perfection according to Tesla. 12, you have 12 months, you have 12 apostles that followed Christ, all of these different things. I want to bring one up that allows you guys to see a little bit Symmetry. Let's check that out. Oh, that's tiny. I don't know if you'll be able to see this one. But you can see what I'm sharing here. You can see that each color is associated with a chakra, right? And each color is associated with a chakra and with a gemstone. This is why I lean towards 12 because there were 12 gemstones. So I lean that there's 12 chakras. That's another thing if you want to say they're hiding or deceiving. They're not even showing you all of them. They're saying there's 9 when I think there's 12. I don't know a lot about this topic, but I think there's 12. It just makes sense with everything else, right? Um, I wanted to see the basic. Now you see how symmetry affects this in shapes. This is the cover photo I used the other day. And then you see how numbers are attached to each one of the chakras. All right, again, we're not going to get into too much of that because but I did want to look at somebody else's. Oh, I know what I wanted to look at now. We're going to bring one more thing up and then we'll go back to the paper. Let's look at biofield tuning and what it means. Let's do, there we go. What is biofield tuning? All right, so biofield tuning is a sound healing forks to help I just talked about, didn't I? To help recalibrate the body's energy field or biofield and release emotional and physical stress. It is based on the idea that our biofield surrounds our physical body is an electromagnetic field that can become disrupted by stress and trauma, impacting our overall well-being. I am on the right page, right? Okay. Just want to make sure. How it works. Tuning forks and sound vibration. Biofield tuning practitioners use tuning forks to introduce specific frequencies into the biofield. These vibrations are thought to help the body's energy systems rebalance and self-correct. There goes my belly again. Hold please while I grab a sip of oat milk. Biofield anatomy. Biofield tuning is based on the idea that our biofield is connected to our conscious and subconscious mind, including our memories. Practitioners use a biofield anatomy map to identify areas of disharmony in the biofield, which can be linked to specific ages and memories. Hold, please. Let me play devil's advocate yet again. And in black, hold up the lights. It wasn't just a light. What if it's also a sound? Because this stuff goes together. There's a chakra that goes, that word bothers you. There's a biofield sensor, biofield part, organ, body part, spiritual body part connected with a color and a frequency. So it just makes sense that something like that would also have a frequency because it looks kind of like a tuning fork. I mean, I know people say it looks like a pen, releasing stuck energy. By holding an activated tuning fork near areas of disharmony, practitioners aim to help the body release stuck energy and integrate unprocessed experiences. That's kind of what I do with my bell, in a way. Client experiences. Clients often report feeling lighter, more relaxed, and experiencing a diminishment or resolution of symptoms after a biofield tuning session. I should do this. I should do this. Myself, not with I just don't trust anybody anymore. Nervous system biofeedback. Some practitioners interpret biofield tuning as a form of targeted nervous system biofeedback, allowing individuals to make changes they might not be able to do on their own, like changing your behaviors or bad habits, or things after trauma having to do with PTSD. What's it say? Key concepts: biofield, the energy that surrounds the body. We know that. Biofield anatomy. Now that's what we were just looking at. Biofield anatomy, which would include your chakra systems. Schumann resonance. Now this is a big one. This is why you should care about this as well. Now, again, you could say this is woo-woo, this is fluff, this is that. Most of us understand now that there's a Schumann resonance coming from the earth. We know this. We hear it. We feel it. A natural, and this is when they tell you to go ground yourself, go stick your feet in the sand. This is what they're talking about. A natural electromagnetic resonance of the earth, which biofield tuning practitioners use as a reference point for tuning fork frequencies. That I find fascinating. So again, our creator, you have to think of, right, which is the Bible. And again, I know people, it's not just about guys. There's so much in there that you're missing. It talks about everything, celestial seasonings, all this stuff. It's just wild. And there's healing concepts right in there too. In fact, I'm writing down words that mean healing in um, Latin, Hebrew, and Aramaic, and we're going to do videos like that because I find that just speaking certain words in Aramaic or Hebrew seem to make things happen. And that's all I'm going to say on that because and again, I don't even care about that, but whatever. Consciousness hacking. Now, this is the problem. This is what we're talking about as targeted individuals, both spiritually and physically. Concept that describes the process of using sound to bypass the conscious mind and work with unconscious patterns. This, in tandem with the Schumann resonance and all of the electromagnetic things that are out there today, especially since 2018, this is my concern. This is why I think people are acting wonky. You can call it possession. I don't care what it's called. I don't care what you label it. People are being used like sock puppets. And this is why you see so many people who are very similar, but they're not the same people because some similar spirit is behind the hacking of people. And again, you don't have to believe me, but I think we're building on this channel. Every day, we're building on the videos from the previous days, weeks, and months, and years. And it's pretty obvious that there's something going on with people. And I think this, I don't care if you call it possession. I don't care if you call it consciousness hacking. We were told that the things that walk the earth, it would be called evil spirits. We're told that stuff can't hurt us, but that's a lie because it can't hurt you because you're spirit and body. So yes, it can hurt you. And this is another reason we're looking at this because it would be negligent not to know our own temples. But they're banking on our ignorance. This is what they want us in ignorance. They want you to be, don't look at that. You shouldn't look at that. You're not allowed to look at that. Why are you looking at that, Jenny? You bad girl. Get back in your lane. That's the goal, is to make you feel this guilt. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and to like turn you into that cowering dog. That's all they have. And this, we should feel pity for them because if they're actually stuck here, I do feel sorry for them. And I mean, I don't mean stuck here because I love the earth. They are the ones ruining my life experience as far as I'm concerned. And I just want left alone. Like, I just, like, all of it. We're told these things would happen. And it's irresponsible and negligent of us not to tend to our own systems. And that includes the spiritual, that includes frequency, vibration, all of those things. Okay. The benefits, allegedly, of biofield tuning, they're often used to help individuals manage stress and anxiety by recalibrating the energy field and releasing tension. They believe it can help improve overall emotional and physical well-being and release trapped emotions. My other problem with this is, again, it can be used, it can be weaponized against you. You need to learn how to reverse what is being done to you. Okay? And the only way to do that is to dig in. Now, again, my problem is, what are they telling us? Are they going to tell us the opposite of what's true? Or do they just bank on the fact that nobody's looking this up? So they leave it out here unaltered, I guess is what I'm saying. They leave the research contaminated. Okay, what is the difference between Reiki and biofield tuning? Biofield tuning uses sound therapy. Reiki involves working in the energy field that extends 5 to 6 inches out from the body. I think it's 3 feet. We were always told to give people 3 feet of space. That was probably safe. Maybe it's 12 inches. Like I said, if you hold your hand out, there's a trick you can do. Take your hand and either put it in front of a bright light or get a white piece of paper. Put your hand on the white piece of paper in front of a bright light. Hold it away from you. Do you see how big your fingers look? Like they're almost touching, but they're not actually touching? That's your biofield. That's your spirit. Your spirit does not end at your fingertip, top of your head. It goes around that. That's why they say this body's kind of like an avatar in a way. Okay? You have to understand that much. You have to be willing to take in that much. This is why certain people affect you the way that they do. You need to start paying attention to this. This is why you clean out your temple and detox, because it will let you know if what is around you is good or if it intends you harm. You know how when the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and you know you're not alone and you know you're being watched? That's what I'm talking about. Subtle differences in the air, the ether around you. Air, A-I-R, ether, A-E-T-H-E-R, air, A-E-R. Listen to the air, okay? And I repeat certain concepts over and over and over again because I think they're valid, and I think my goal here is to help us. What are the side effects of biotuning? At times, individuals may notice feeling tired or even adding more energy, while others have temporary physical discomfort as the bodies adjust. Again, anything can be weaponized against a person, especially if they're negligent or they're ignorant about the topic. And they're banking on our ignorance that we will be good little Christ followers, or we will be good little women, or we will be good little people of color, whatever it is, whatever group you're in, right? There is a known gaslighting campaign against you. All right. And they know that some of us, most of us, want to be good. We want to behave. We don't want any problems. Okay. Biofield aura. Most dynamic of the energy systems and created by vast connective webbing. Interesting word choice there. Webbing. Introducing the magnificent aura. We're just going to take a quick peek at this because I want to see. Again, we're looking at both sides. I wanted to pull something up that was a little new age to balance out the science aspect of this, and also to maybe bring it more into layman's language that we can all understand. Don't leave yet. We're not going to get into any worshiping of idols, so please don't freak out. We're researching, all right? And if you missed the beginning, you're going to want to hear some of what was said there because I explain why these are important concepts for everyone to know, especially if you want to be an advocate for your own autonomy and your own health. Okay, there goes my belly again. Introducing the magnificent aura. This is by Prune Herons. Not sure who she is, but let's see what she's got to say. I can't emphasize enough that we really need a healthy aura. Aura, biofield, spirit. Don't get scared by words. They mean the same thing. But before I tell you more about all these reasons why having a strong, healthy aura is a great idea, perhaps I should define what that is first. Also known as the biofield, the aura is one of the most dynamic of the energy systems and created by a vast connective webbing. Interesting. Webbing. Remember the Hopi prophecy? We refer to that often, World Wide Web, when they said that when you knew the end of the last age was coming because she would cast her web across the earth back and forth. Also known as the biofield, the oral. Okay, I recently worked with some wonderful illustrators to create images of the energy systems as I see them. Here is one of the auras so you can get an idea of just how magnificent it is. And there you have the figure eights as well, which also, if you turn those upside down, you get that Taurus with you in the middle and that circle looking thing on the outer edges. Some people say that's what the earth looks like too. If that's what we look like, that must be what the earth is shaped like too. I don't know, but we'll see. The aura has three functions: protecting you, connecting you, and carrying information. That is key in understanding why we're looking at this and what relation it has to do with our 5G, 4G, 6G, and all these towers we see. All right. This is why we're doing it. It carries information through all of our other energy systems. All right. Synapses, things firing off. In its healthy form, it's continually changing its flow and its shape and its colors come from the way in which the different energy systems are vibrating together. The energy within the aura can be swirling around clockwise or anti-clockwise. It can be going up or down, coming out or going in. It can be a real whirl storm or gentle and peaceful and filled with sunny radiance. Is Okay, so I'm going to use another word here, and some, again, Christians might get mad at me, but wouldn't you also call this the Holy Spirit? Like if you have the Holy Spirit and you have an aura, wouldn't you also call that you being able to see the Holy Spirit? And again, I'm just asking questions, so please don't like get angry or have some knee-jerk reaction. Let's take in the information and see what else we can learn. Oh, my sinuses are terrible. I'm sorry. The energy within the aura can be swirling around clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. It can be a real world storm or gentle, peaceful, filled with sunny radiance. It can also be very small, thin, or flat when someone desperately doesn't want to be noticed, or even non existent outside the human body when collapsed in order to protect all your vital life. And that's what I want you to learn how to do. I want you to learn how to pay attention to what your spirit is telling you. Okay. This can help us to visualize certain things and maybe gain some discipline over our own systems so that we can be advocates for our own lifestyles, our own well being, our own health. Here are some of the attributes that having a strong aura can bring: feeling grounded, being able to connect to others more easily, feeling protected, increased vitality and joyousness. Can we just say joyfulness? Joy? I didn't know joyousness was a word. I don't know. Better ability to absorb nutrients such as vitamin D. That's key, especially for people that live where I live, especially for women. You need to be having vitamin D. Ideally, you want vitamin D that comes from the sun. Again, I'm not a doctor. Okay. This is just what's worked for me and what I found through years of research. Better boundaries, less tiredness and more energy, increased intuition, mental clarity, physical muscular strength, being less stressed and more relaxed, understanding the bigger picture, protection from environmental and electromagnetic pollutants such as computers, Wi Fi, and toxic chemicals in our air. I didn't say it, she did. So if you have a problem with it, go see Sweet Pearl or whatever her name was. And we'll see in a minute what her name was. I forgot already. Protection from environmental and electromagnetic pollutants, such as computers, Wi Fi, and toxic chemicals in our air. Again, they want this part of you sick. All of the stuff that they're doing is about making this part of you sick. I'm sorry. Shave your arms, lady. Like, I'm sorry, but I just can't. Anyways, who wouldn't want to know how to bring health, vitality, and resiliency to their aura? Which we should. And again, it's not a woo-woo concept. I'm not telling you to go out to the mountainside and worship Buddha or anything like that. Prune was her name, not Pearl. Another wonderful way to strengthen and revitalize your aura is by regularly doing the dragon breath or Ujjayi breath, which you can read about in this blog post. Now, breathing is a very touchy subject with people, and I don't know why, because we all do it. Everybody has something bad to say about breath work. And again, I don't know why, because we all do it. So that's something we're going to look at too. But again, not in a woo-woo way. And how do we calm down, have better prayer sessions, better meditative sessions. And a lot of that begins with how you breathe. If you're stressed out, your mom will tell you, take a deep breath, calm down, tell me what's going on, right? That type of thing. All right, let's go back to this. We're going to read a little bit of this, probably not the whole thing, but we'll read some of it before this video ends. Let's go ahead over here. Now that everybody should have a decent idea of what it is and why it's being shared on this channel, before I get all kind of angry comments, that's why we're looking at this. Okay, so this is over the decades. Do we really need to look at that introduction part? Okay, so here's table 1. These are CAM practices that may involve field interactions. We're going to have to look at it, aren't we? Because it talks about this stuff. Dang it. I don't mean to be lazy. I just don't want to waste your time. Over the past few decades, biochemistry and molecular biology have dominated biology and medicine. This approach, which is based on reductionism and a view of the body as a complex machine made of parts, is the basis of conventional biomedicine with its sophisticated pharmacologic, surgical, and other powerful medical modalities that fight disease. This view culminated in the Human Genome Project. Human Genome Project. Okay, we're gonna have to look at that. Did we? I feel like we've looked at that before. HGP. I'm sorry, I'm making notes for further study. Genome Project. I feel like we looked at that. Again, they're collecting DNA, but there's a very specific reason for that. Okay. Has elucidated less than 40,000 genes, Cleveri 2001, in the human genome, purportedly Okay, so that's when they were trying to determine how many there were. Purportedly, the key information that makes up the human being. It is surprising to find such a small number of genes, and some question whether the human genome is sufficient to account for all information specifying a human being. Moreover, the genetic view of life is limited because it is unable to explain many of life's subtle characteristics, including the action of various complementary and alternative medicine. Okay, so CAM is complementary alternative medicine. Therapies that appear to challenge the dominant biomedical paradigm typically involve subtle field interactions such as biofield therapies, homeopathy, acupuncture, magnet therapy. Magnets, guys, was that not just a big topic with people? And I told you pay attention to their pictures because they're trying to tell you something. Remember them people saying, "Oh, these magnets are sticking to me. I'm magnetized." Again, you can think that this is woo woo and this is new age. That's what they want you to think. Why do you think that they pay all these big gurus and they get these really big platforms when they can't they can't speak a full sentence on their own? Because that's how they want us. That's how they want us. And the Reiki people online and the ASMR girls, all of them. They know what they're doing. Okay? If they've got a big channel like that, and especially if they're doing ASMR or they're doing this Reiki stuff, I'm not saying Reiki itself is bad or anything like that. I'm saying you can use these things and weaponize them. Almost anything can be weaponized. Okay? We don't want our own bodies being weaponized against us anymore. I don't consent. I don't know about you. So, magnet therapy, bioelectric magnetic therapy, electrodermal therapy, which is on your skin, and phototherapy, which is light therapy. Collectively, these have been called energy medicine. It is not well understood how these modalities work, which is one reason they remain outside the mainstream. I bet you again, Native American Indians know these things. Why are we not learning from them? Why are they not sharing more with us? Where have they all gone? Where are they? And why? Well, there's a reason they're not sharing certain things, and I can't blame them with how they were treated. They're being tossed in a basket that I don't belong in either, to be honest. In relation to this, there's another scientific view of life based on biophysics. Living systems are regarded as complex, non-linear, dynamic, self-organizing systems at a global or holistic level according to the principles of non-equilibrium, thermodynamics of open systems, and chaos theory. Okay, we were gonna look at the chaos theory. I think we did a little bit. Geez, Sammy. Um, we can look at those maybe again. We'll see how far this gets. Living systems are constantly exchanging energy with information. Basically, your aura, your biofield, your spirit that extends beyond your physical body can mix with others when they are close enough to you, and theirs will affect yours, and yours will affect theirs. Okay, this is why you say bad energy. That person has bad energy, or that type of thing. Um, physical structures of the body. Okay, so this paper provides a scientific basis toward how these interventions may work by impacting directly the global regulatory processes of life rather than the physical structures of the body. But one affects the other, right? So again, just because I'm showing you somebody's information doesn't mean I agree with everything they're saying, but I'm here to learn because I am not science girl, and this is an area that I'm not. I do things and I say things in prayer and meditation, but I don't know if it covers some of this. So again, I'm here to learn. It is worthwhile to consider further the two scientific views of life mentioned above. On one hand, conventional biology provides a reductionist analytical view of life based on molecules and structure, function, relationships. On the other hand, the emergent biophysical view is a dynamic one that addresses the whole organism, like the body of Christ, how each one of us makes up the body of Christ, right? The church itself, all of our cells make up our physical body. But what is holding all that stuff together? What is the glue, right? What they were looking for at CERN, the boson particle. Okay. I hate when they write like this. Why can't you put it all? Metaphorically speaking, conventional biology depicts life as a crystal. Wow, I say that all the time. And the emerging biophysical view depicts life as a flame. Huh. Although both views are correct within a certain context, each alone is limited. I agree, thus far. Hopefully, you guys are following along. I see you're still here. Let me check just to see if anyone has commented. Nobody comments. I don't know why. They're not turned off. It is what it is. All right, here we go. Back over here. Okay. Um, Together they are complementary and provide a more complete view of life that offers greater potential for understanding health and healing. See, this is my thing. You need to take the science and the faith and put them together. They go together, or they can. One does not disprove the other. They should kind of work together. Or they should. Together, they are complementary and provide a more complete view of life that offers greater potential for understanding health and healing. That is to say, the living state is richer and more complex than it is possible to express in a single model or metaphor, which is obviously true. Um, and that's the crux of the problem, isn't it? You have this group wanting to address everything that's physical, this group wanting to address everything that's spiritual. And it's like no commonality shall be found between the two. Like it's like taboo, right? You stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. You make your money, I'll make my money. You keep your people in their cell, I'll keep mine in my cell. But no, like we're not able to move forward that way, and that's the problem. We have people leading us that have no vision because they have to steal our vision because they are here and they're here to stay, allegedly. All right. It was necessary to formulate the principle of complementarity to embrace, that's in 1998, to embrace light's dualistic properties of particles and waves. So light has both particles and waves. Either the particle or the wave model is invoked to explain particular scientific observations depending on which description best fits the experimental data. That's backwards. You're not supposed to do that. Your data should change the hypothesis if necessary. If you set out to prove one thing and you actually disprove it, well, you still need to publish that information. You can't publish things just because that's where your bias leans. But people do it all the time. And that's what I'm telling you. Your viewpoint, your perspective should be a culmination. It should be all these things added up, all these different experiences that you have added up together to create that one perspective or life faith system or whatever it is that you have. Your research, right? If it does not prove your theory, then you have to change your theory. And people don't want to do that. They don't want to, they're not ready to do that. And that's the problem. We have no one when nobody will admit that they're wrong. This is why we're all stuck and you've seen us like not move forward as a species in the last 5 or 6 years because nobody's being accountable. You have to say, it's okay to say, I don't know. I was wrong. It happens often. You'll be wrong 50, 11 times today, probably, in your assumption and your perception and in your treatment of others. I'm not telling you you're a piece of crap or anything like that. I'm saying if our research and our experience disproves our theory, then we have to change our theory. This particle wave duality also applies to all matter in quantum physics. It is timely for biology to move beyond Newton physics and embrace quantum theory, which originated a century ago. Therefore, we need to consider particle wave duality for the constituents of life. Okay. On the one hand, life is made up of complex biomolecular structures. On the other hand, it is dynamic waves with information. Whereas the molecular view of life provides a for allopathic medicine, the field view offers a scientific for many types of CAM, which is alternative medicine modalities. Some of the concepts in this paper may not be well known to biologists or CAM. These are nonlinear dynamic systems, non-equilibrium thermodynamics, dissipative structures, chaos theory, Homeodynamics, bioinformation conveyed by electromagnetic signals in a field model of life. See, again, and the problem with some of this is that we can't just take other people's word for it. We're going to have to test, if you want to learn about this, you're going to have to test some of these things yourself. And I would strongly recommend doing that within and through prayer and meditation and strong discipline first before you get to using like things that are outside of yourself, like tuning forks and that nature. And before you do that, obviously learn about them, read about them, research them, um, because we don't want to be using bad information that they are putting out here just to do us harm. Like they say it's good, so we do it, and here it's bad for us. All right, much like eating certain things. Now we have the biofield hypothesis. Von, hold on. Who created it in 1930 and 1940? General systems theory goes back to biologist and philosopher Ludwig von Bart, Bert, Bertalanffy. Okay. In 1930-40, I love how they say who in 1930 through 40 developed the groundwork for a systems approach. A system is a number of different interacting things that display collective behavior, such as your cell nucleus. Yes, we understand that, right? We're above 10 years old. We get it. All right, let's move on. The living domain of nature can be regarded as a hierarchy or network of nested systems of organized complexity, which again, we've come. I've learned that on this channel. I hope you've learned at least that through our studies. Linear systems express behavior that is strictly proportional. A plot of response versus stimulus is a straight line. Linear systems comprise modules that can be taken apart and put back together and still behave exactly the same. Conventional biology and medicine often utilize linear thinking in the causal scheme of relationships and living systems. For example, linear thinking underlies gene therapy with the insertion of genes into patient cells purportedly to eliminate disease. Nonlinear systems express relationships that are not strictly proportional, and in general, they cannot be reduced to distinct modules that can be taken apart and put back together again to yield the same behavior. Okay, so she's telling you the difference there between linear and nonlinear. Linear, you can take it apart like an engine, take it apart, put it back together, and it should work in exactly the same way. Nonlinear systems, or nonlinear systems aren't like that. They cannot be reduced to distinct modules and put back together. These systems are characterized by a complex pattern of interactions that include feedback. Now, this is what I'm talking to you when I tell you about the internet, and I don't even know if I'm getting out of my own area because I'm in a feedback loop, is basically what I'm saying. Right? That's what's happening to a lot of us at this time, I think. I think that's how they misinform people with news, and that's why, like, for example, a lot of the stuff started happening when I had friends in San Francisco and I was talking to them online. I'm like, hey, I saw you had an earthquake today. Are y'all right there? We didn't have any earthquake. I don't know what you're talking about. And that kept happening. Like, hey, I saw this on the news today. How are things in your area? We don't have nothing like that going on. I don't know what you're talking about. They've been telling us our border's been in big trouble for a long time now. But again, is it really? Because this has been going on allegedly since 2008 with Obama. So how bad is the border? Who's still hanging out there? Why is it still a problem? And everybody's sucked into it. Everybody thinks that some guy is going to fix problems. They tell us flat out not to depend on them. They tell us flat out, we've said government has gotten too big, but then when something happens, we want their help. We need to take at least our own bodies into our own hands again and look at how they work. Now we have self-organizing systems, chaos theory. So we're going to look at these self-organizing systems and chaos theory a little bit. Let me see how long this has been. 133. It never fails to amaze me. Wrong page. There we go. Self-organizing system. The physics of self-organizing systems was launched by Nobel laureate in chemistry Prigogine for his work in non-equilibrium thermodynamics. And, oh my gosh, back up. Oh my gosh. Eric Jantz, among others. They brought together a general systems theory and principles of self-organization and showed how these concepts applied to living systems and humans. Kind of like you don't need an instruction to breathe. You're just always going to breathe unless, something impedes that process. It's kind of like how your cells, we don't need nanobots or any of that stuff. Our bodies will heal themselves. We don't need any of those things. I'm still not convinced that those things exist. It's just my opinion. I don't see how you can build a robot that is smaller than the pin of a needle. They say, well, robots build it because they're more precise than people. No, they're not. No, they're not. Nothing can beat the human hand. That's why we're still doing jobs, because they can't make a fake hand. Even Da Vinci had problems drawing the human hand. That's why certain jobs will always be done by humans, because robots can't be that specific. That's why when they say robots are doing certain kind of surgeries, well, they might be making the initial cuts, but there's no way that a robot hand can insert itself into a chest cavity and pull out a heart and exchange it for another and not do damage. I'm sorry. That's something only a human hand can do. And it just takes common sense. How are you going to build robots that you can't even see? Who built them? What built them? I just don't. I think it's a psyop. I think nanobots and this type of stuff, I think it's a psyop. And it's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. If I get more information, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, I think nanobots are a psyop. And again, you'll go to all these famous YouTubers and, oh, but this person and that person, I don't care what they say. They don't know me. They're not responsible for me. I'm not responsible for them. They have no reason to tell me the truth. They have every reason to lie to me. They make bank on this platform. If you really think people that are on this platform who are banking are going to tell you the truth, I got a few bridges to sell you. So that's why, like, I don't believe in nanobots. I just don't. I don't see how it's possible. Call me short-sighted, maybe. And here's the thing: if they do exist, it is it is something organic. I don't think they're bots. I don't think they're robots. I think it's something organic. And again, I don't really care who disagrees with me. What are you going to do about it anyway? What are you going to do about it if there are nanobots? What will you do? Because they're just stealing all of these concepts from television shows, like that was in Doctor Who, nanobots and replicators and all that. I think it's just a giant psyop because they want people to end themselves because it's easier than having all-out war. And they want our resources. And I just think, if you have people who are consenting to go, I told you what happened. I said it in front of my aunt once, that life was getting hard. I was having, certain ideation. I'm not going to say it here, self-deletion. And after that, like, everybody came after me like I was, like, they wanted to punch my ticket for me. We are in a calling. That's what's happening. You don't have to believe me. I don't care. So there's a ton of misinformation out there. Alex Jones was right, isn't it? It is an information war. And if you believe that we still fight wars with tanks, you're foolish. You know we have drones. You know we have drones. There ain't no soldiers out there fighting physical battles anymore. Ukraine is a freaking set. And I don't mean any disrespect. I'm sure that people die, but it's not the way they're saying. It's not with tanks. It's not that way. Why would they show us all these pictures of war? Who would allow? And if cameras were really that large, because they always say, oh, this person was on location, at the Vietnam War, and they were taking all these pictures. Do you know how heavy cameras were back then? Video cameras especially, so they're lugging those around. No, dude, they're making a video. They're making movies. Why? For propaganda back here in America. So you can feel bad for your troops. So you can send them a bunch of money. So those people who run that crap don't have to work ever. And they can laugh at us. Start using your brain, man. How are we still fighting a war with tanks? It's not happening. How are we still fighting a war with airplanes? It's not happening. None of that is happening. You need to wake up. They're showing us old crap on television because, like, I don't know if somebody didn't reset the AI or what happened, but everything they're showing us, except for certain politics and whatnot, is old. And they tell us, Jennifer Garner, or not Jennifer Garner, Jennifer Lawrence, and people like her and Keanu Reeves. Well, they must have been cloned. They must be time travelers. Are they? Or did they pose for those black and white pictures? Okay, if it was an actual actress back then, okay, well, what if she's just been here that long? Because Christ tells us, some of you will not pass away until I come again. And everybody with their human brains assumes, well, that's not true. That's not the case. How do you know? You think they're going to come tell us if we got 1,000-year-old people walking around the earth? They're not going to tell you that. They don't want you to know that. That'll prove the Bible. We got to be smarter than these people giving us the information because they're not very smart. They're not thinking 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. They're not even playing regular chess, man. They're on some Connect Four stuff. And I'm sorry, but I'm an adult. I love Connect Four. It was a great game, but I've moved on. Okay, so they're basically saying all of these living systems are open-ended systems and they receive and send out data, information. They hold information and data. So I'm going to end this video with a few graphics, I think. And I want to share this with you. Now, again, we're going to refer back to that paper, but it gets very scientific. I want this to be user-friendly, mostly in layman's terms that most people can understand. Biofield anatomy refers to the study and mapping. That's key. Any targeted individual knows about mapping. Mapping of the energy fields, often referred to as the biofield, that are believed to surround and permeate living organisms. And this is also why I come back to this layman term stuff. This is your body. This is your spirit. You control it. You can make yourself feel better, feel worse. This puts the power back in your hands and takes it out of the hands of scientism, using numbers and words that don't any regular person use on a daily basis nor understand. And I'm convinced half of the math is fake. I don't even know if I agree with most of the math out there. And I'm not talking about basic adding and subtracting. I'm talking about like, oh, I'm algebra and trig and this stuff that nobody else understands but me. I just no. Biofield anatomy refers to the study and mapping of the energy field, often referred to as the biofield, that are believed to surround and permeate living organisms. Remember, it's as unique as your fingerprint. It's considered to be electromagnetic. Don't forget that. Chakras, they are the energy centers within the biofield that correspond with specific organs, glands, and nervous systems. Again, they tell us this stuff is bad. They tell us it's woo-woo. They tell us it doesn't exist, and then they hide it if nothing else works. They do not want your own sanity, your own health, your own sovereignty in your hands. This is why they tell you not to look at certain things. Don't look there, Jenny. That's a bad girl. Be a good girl, Jenny. Be a good Christian. I'm just looking. I'm not worshiping any false idols. None of that. I am looking. Meridians, those are big, are pathways or lines of energy that run throughout the biofield, connecting different parts of the body and influencing overall health. Meridians also, I believe, are how your spirit, you have meridians in your biofield, in your spirit, and you also have them in the earth's Schumann resonance. And so not only are we affected by the other living beings around us, we're affected by the living being that we set upon. Okay. Aura. This is the energy field that surrounds the body, reflecting the individual's overall state of health and well-being. Biofield tuning. It uses tuning forks to detect and correct imbalances within the biofield. Now, we looked a little bit at the healing, but I want to look at real quick before we close out, see if we can find a nice map of this for you. For us. One that actually you can read and isn't non-user friendly. This is from gastroenterology. Wow, gut health. Can we look at this? No, open image and no, there we go. All right, so let's check this out. Wow, this is nice and big. All right. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, no part of this is medical advice. We are researching what they are telling us here. So they are telling us that each part of our body, our physical body, is affected. So we have metabolic, mechanical, mental. So everything that's metabolic or related to the metabolic is in dark blue. Everything that's mechanical is in green. Everything mental is in gray. Okay. And it's showing you here. I don't know why my little, is that as big as it is? Like, can we not? I guess not. All right. And it's telling you certain things that are or certain things that can happen because of other issues. And it's telling you what areas of your body, what organs of your body. So that might be a good one to keep. Let's go back here. I'll get rid of that one. Do we want that or this? Which one? That's Instagram. That might not come up. See how big this guy is. Ooh, this one's smaller, but it's a nice image, so we're going to look at it real quick. Okay, so the crown chakra was right. They're saying this is your pineal gland, your third eye. Blue is your throat chakra. Green is your heart chakra. Yellow is your solar plexus. Orange is your sacral chakra, your gut. And red is your root chakra. Okay, this is your biofield that's around it. All of these are your chakra centers, which are within the biofield. So you know how your organs make up your physical body? Your chakras make up your spiritual body. Does that make sense? I hope that kind of bottom lined it for everybody. I try to make things to a point where I can, meet me where I'm at and I can understand it. Okay. Now, can we get one that actually has, though, the whole list that actually opens for us and we can see? Ah, that's nice and clear. It looks tiny, guys, but I'll try to, but I want to see this one. Share this tab. There we go. Let's check this out. Okay. So we have main issue, plexus and glands and related functions. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So again, they're saying we have 7. And again, I've heard 9, I've heard 12, and each gem is supposed to relate to another. So I'm almost wondering if there's 2 more, 3 more that we're not being shown. Main issue, spirituality, relationship to God or Tao, universal source, intuition, wisdom, creative intelligence, communication. Is it telling us? We might have to actually read. All right, and then it tells you, see these T's and these C's, those are your vertebrae, and it's telling you which vertebrae or which glands are attached to which issues. Here. Now, this one was, what is Biofield anatomy? So just show me the Biofield anatomy. A nice, clear, easy to read with the colors that coincide with the chakras and their names would be freaking amazing. It is so hard to get real information. I see what she's talking about there. What interests me too is like the outside. It almost looks like that Hecate mace thing we were looking at before. Again, only because they're showing it to us so much that it's everywhere. And I kind of think that that's what some of us are in. That'll be another video. Don't. And there will be a short upload today to go with this where we actually talk about something else. Location of chakras. Oh, fiddle dee dee, you guys. The 7 layers of the aura closest to the human body. 7 layers of the aura closest to the human body. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So do you think there's 5 more? Mm. Let's look at this. This looks nice. Open. There we go. This guy looks clear. All right. So we've got your crown chakra. Third eye. This is not its own chakra, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Because I always thought it was crown, then throat. I'm not sure. Like I know that the third eye is there, but I didn't know that it was its own. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, people can't agree. Again, as usual, what else is new? So we've got the crown, whatever that one is, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root base. And this is telling us that the basic etheric, the one closest to your body, is red. Now this is where you get the rainbow, RG-BIV, right? Roy G. Biv, ROYGBIV. That's what I learned as a kid. I don't know what you learned. Emotional body is orange. Mental body is yellow. Astral body is green, which is also represented by pink. That's different. And then as you get further out, you have the etheric template, which is blue, celestial body, indigo, etheric body, violet, spiritual plane. Now, again, different people can some call this different things, and I just did that without showing you guys the big one. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I do that sometimes. I'm still learning, relearning using a laptop for videos, so I apologize. But you see what I mean? How they kind of can't agree on that one? I don't understand that. Now they're saying the one closest to your body is the red, and it's the rainbow, okay? And again, I think that a lot of this rainbow stuff we're seeing manifest is trying to tell us something different, but everyone is caught in like this base level. I don't know, even like I feel like people with morals and values are being brought into this conversation about other people's sensual body, like their plumbing. It's not our business. Like, genuinely, I don't understand when it became somebody's business what you're walking around with in your pants. Of course, I care for the sake of children being in restrooms. Like, that matters, right? But the rest of it in sports. But I don't know if it should be discussed in such a public way in front of children. Like, not everything should revolve around our plumbing. And I'm saying that it might not be. It's a rudimentary way of saying this stuff, our bits, our boy bits and our girl bits. I'm trying to be friendly here for all ages. There we go. And it keeps me honest too. It keeps my mouth where it needs to be and not trash coming out of it. Okay, so let's see if there's any more. I'm not understanding why there's still this dissonance regarding how many there are. There 7, are there 9, or are there 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to ask the question because I need to know now. Why are they giving different information on this? And now, how many? Hmm. 7 main chakras. Okay, that makes sense. What? Why are you giving me a blank here, AI? Where's the rest? Are there 112 or 114? What does that mean? Wow. Okay. Maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Are there 7 chakras or 9? 7 chakras are thought of as the main energy points in your body which run down the spine. Makes sense. Here's what to know about this ancient complex energy system. You've probably heard them mentioned in yoga. I don't go to yoga. Again, we're told not to do that because it's wicked. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I don't like that kind of like exercise. I never have. What is the 13th chakra? Cosmic gateway, the highest energy center located above the universal gateway. Okay, so the thing about this is too is we're getting into this concept where there's also this 13th astrological sign that nobody knew about. Well, there was also 13 apostles. Judas would make 13. Paul replaced Judas, allegedly, theoretically speaking. But now we're seeing all that come back around again. And again, we're seeing this repetition of things. I don't want to be stuck in some pattern though, especially if we have free will. We shouldn't be giving the keys up of the kingdom to these dodo heads that are in charge. And again, I say that with love, sort of. 7 chakras. So you've got the crown, the third eye, the throat. I've never heard the third eye having its like own chakra. I thought it was just under the crown chakra. All right, so there we've got 12 here. So they're saying above the crown is the soul, universal, galactic, and divine. Now here's the thing I want to talk to you guys about gateways. And let me pull one up if it actually has a like a gate. I should have pulled up that one that we were looking at, but it got a little weird. And just my map. I don't need everything else. The pranic healers, major chakras. Prana is the soul in Buddhism. It's another word for soul. Okay, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, basically, all right, there are some prophets who were able to bilocate. Some people in the Bible and in other ancient texts who were able to bilocate. That means they could be in two places at the same time, at once. Okay. Everybody wants to know why Moses used the snake to heal the Israelites. Do you know why? Everyone says, oh, wasn't that, it's snake worship. These people were evil, evil, evil people. Do you actually know why Moses had them look at the snake? It's called the hair of the dog. You know, when you get drunk, I've had this happen a few times. You ever get drunk and you've had somebody tell you the next morning, here, have a Bloody Mary, the hair of the dog that bit you? Because sometimes what makes you sick will also heal you. I hope that you can see we've got the wings here, we've got the snake here, or the tree of life, or the serpent. If you look at the serpent, you shall be healed. What is the serpent encompassing? The medical serpent, the chakras. Okay? They know this stuff, but they're only treating the flesh. They're not treating the rest of it, and they know that it's included in the body. They know these things. Now, some prophets could bilocate. They could be in two places at once. But if you look at this top chakra, the crown chakra, it's supposed to be white light. If you think of them as gateways, some prophets also could open portals. They just had that ability. Portals would open up wherever they went, where they would ask God to open them. If God wanted to talk to them and them to be in front of them, God would open a portal. Sometimes the portal is within you. Okay? If we can figure out how to manage our own system, the rest of this will be a cakewalk. I mean, as far as fighting our enemies, not always your internal self and being honed and all this stuff. I would really like to go to like a walkabout or like a Native American reservation because I bet that they would have so much to teach us. I really need a Native American friend. I need a friend, but anyways. So this is what we're looking at now. The reason we're looking at it is because 5G, electromagnetic pulses, everything EMF related can affect your spiritual body, which everybody has told you is fake. Well, if it's that fake, how are people all over learning about it, being healed by it, getting classes and courses on it if it's so fake? Now, again, they all go together. You have the astrological signs, but they want you to be dumb. They want to tell you, oh, this is evil. You can't look at that because it's wicked. They want to tell you that it's evil. They want to tell you that it's witchcraft, that it goes along with that because they don't want you to be where they're at because they are using all of this stuff to get a leg up. It's not even a fight for them. Honestly, if I'm in a sport, I don't feel like I won the game if I don't feel like it was a hard game. This is why you don't have high schoolers playing ball with middle schoolers because it's no competition. They have no competition right now because we're not giving them any, because we're being psyched out, because we're listening. Oh, it's evil. We don't want to look at this. We don't want to. I'm not telling you to look at this and worship these gods that they have over here. I'm not telling you to do any of that. I'm telling you to take back the keys of your own castle, of your domain. This body and the spiritual body, that's yours. It's not theirs to take. It's not theirs to do with as they please. But right now, they're doing as they please because they don't want to be old. They don't want to age. They don't want to be weak. So they want to use our vessels if they're good enough, if we have the right genes. And they want to do things to us just to harm us because they get mighty bored being here for forever and they're already at reprobate status. And I could go on and on. Stop allowing yourself to be psyched out. This is information you need. You need to understand how your whole body, your physiologically, your psychology is being affected by all of the stuff out there in today's society. We'll be looking at this again. I don't know when. Things are always a little up in the air for me. I'm fine with that these days. I used to plan everything down to the finest detail. I no longer do that. And honestly, I have more joy that way. You guys have a blessed day. We'll talk soon. Watch for a short upload that actually goes with this. And if you have anything to share on the topic, by all means, please share. You can always share links. I don't shut that off. So we'll talk soon.